Chris Turner here with Turner's Underseal, and the question is, how do you keep a crawl space healthy and dry year-round in our humid environment? We have some pictures here which shows things to avoid with crawl spaces. This one right here is very ugly and nasty. It has fiberglass insulation in it, and oftentimes the insulation, because it's so humid in the crawl space, it gets really damp and it starts to fall out. And then we have another picture here which shows spray foam insulation on the subfloor of a crawl space. The problem with that, if termites ever got in there, you wouldn't be able to see them. The pest control guy wouldn't be able to see it. And plus it creates a vapor trap. We've had customers that have had the spray foam installed and it doesn't stop the moisture, the dampness, and mold from coming into the house. Here is a encapsulated crawl space, but there's a lot of problems with it. This obviously has a lot of problems. It's been very prone to water rising up from the water table from underneath, and there's little tiny holes and leaks around the piers and seam tape, etc. in this encapsulated crawl space where dirt, mud, and water comes in there, and it really forces you to have to clean it up. So it costs a lot of money to do the encapsulation, and obviously this doesn't work. Now, a few other pictures here about encapsulated crawl spaces. Here's one here that shows the leak better. You can see this is the top of a encapsulated liner, and here is the wood getting into the subfloor there. And this is actually supposed to be completely sealed all around the wall, but a lot of them just aren't. This brings up another point. You can really see where the seam tape here is not sealed at all. And because there's so many uneven surfaces, that's actually very difficult to do. There's even a sump pump, but this has had water in it, which the water stays in there because the sump pump really can't get at that water. And it brings up another big issue that is a huge problem with encapsulations, is because you've covered so much of the dirt, there's areas in the dirt where there's contaminants that grow, such as mold colonies, because it's so damp in there, and bacteria and things like that, that can easily outgas through these various leaks. And consequently, a lot of encapsulated crawl spaces have a distinctive odor. That odor can be toxins and gases, etc., from the contaminants that's underneath there. Here's a 5,000 square foot crawl space here that we had done. They were close to the river, coastal area, and water and mud had really gotten in this. This has started to dry out here, but there's still wet areas throughout this crawl space before we fixed it. And the bad thing about it is they waited a little bit before they did anything with it, and you can see all the mold that has grown on that wood, lots of it, that we had to clean up and put our wood sealer on it afterwards. And the homeowner just didn't even want to pay to have all this cleaned up, so we ended up tearing all that encapsulation out. It must have cost quite a bit of money to install it from the beginning as well. So I would avoid encapsulating crawl spaces, especially in coastal areas, but really anywhere, because these problems can happen in any of them. The real problem with crawl spaces is the humidity. Here is the only way to keep the crawl space dry year-round: our properly installed dehumidifier system with modifications. We have our area liner underneath with automatic drainage pump in the back, the dry air diffuser in the front, plus ducting to the opposite side of the crawl space. Remember, to keep it dry, you must dehumidify professionally.